gas from the Tamar field. As of 2014, Israel produced over 7.5 billion cubic meters (BCM) of natural gas a year. 606. Israel had 199 billion BCM of proven reserves of natural gas as of 2016. 607. The Leviathan gas field started production in 2019. 608. Keturah-Sun is Israel's first commercial solar field. Built in 2011 by the Arava Power Company, the field consists of 18,500 photovoltaic panels made by Suntech, which will produce about 9 gigawatt-hours (GWh) of electricity per year. 609. In the next 20 years, the field will spare the production of some 125,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide. 610. Transport. Ben Gurion International Airport. Israel has 19,224 kilometers, 11,945 mi, of paved roads, 611, and 3 million motor vehicles. 612. The number of motor vehicles per 1,000 persons is 365, relatively low among developed countries. 612. Israel has 5,715 buses in scheduled routes, 613, operated by several carriers, the largest and oldest of which is EGD, serving most of the country. 614. Railways stretch across 1,277 kilometers, 793 mi, and are operated by government-owned Israel Railways. 615. Following major investments beginning in the early to mid-1990s, the number of train passengers per year has grown from 2.5 million in 1990 to 53 million in 2015. Railways transport 7.5 million tons of cargo per year. 615. Israel is served by 3 international airports. Ben Gurion Airport, the country's main hub for international air travel, Raymond Airport, and Haifa Airport. Ben Gurion, Israel's largest airport, handled over 15 million passengers in 2015. 616. The country has 3 main ports. The Port of Haifa, the country's oldest and largest, on the Mediterranean coast, Ashdod Port, and the smaller port of Eilat on the Red Sea. Tourism. Ein Bokek Resort on the shore of the Dead Sea. Tourism, especially religious tourism, is an important industry in Israel, with the country's beaches, archaeological, other historical and biblical sites, and unique geography also drawing tourists. Israel's security problems have taken their toll on the industry, but the number of tourists is in the rebound. 617. In 2017, a record 3.6 million tourists visited Israel, yielding a 25% growth since 2016 and contributed NIS 20 billion to Israeli economy. 618. 619. 620, 621. Real estate. Housing prices in Israel are listed in the top third, 622, with an average of 150 salaries required to buy an apartment. 623. As of 2022, there are about 2.7 million properties in Israel, with an annual increase of more than 50,000. 624. However, the demand for housing exceeds supply, with a shortage of about 200,000 apartments as of 2021. 625. As a result, by 2021 housing prices rose by 5.6%. 626. In 2021, Israelis took a record of NIS 116.1 billion in mortgages, an increase of 50% from 2020. 627. Culture. Israel's diverse culture stems from the diversity of its population. Jews from diaspora communities around the world brought their cultural and religious traditions back with them. 628. Arab influences are present in many cultural spheres. 629. Such as architecture. 630. Music. 631. And cuisine. 632. Israel is the only country where life revolves around the Hebrew calendar. Holidays are determined by the Jewish holidays. The official day of rest is Saturday, the Jewish Sabbath. 633. Literature. Shmuel Yosef Agnon, laureate of the Nobel Prize in Literature. Israeli literature is primarily poetry and prose written in Hebrew, as part of the renaissance of Hebrew as a spoken language since the mid-19th century. Although a small body of literature is published in other languages. By law, 2 copies of a printed matter published in Israel must be deposited in the National Library of Israel. In 2001, the law was amended to include audio and video recordings, and of the non-print media. 634. In 2016, 89% of the 7,300 books transferred to the library were in Hebrew. 635. In 1966, Shmuel Yosef Agnon shared the Nobel Prize in Literature with German Jewish author Nelly Sachs. 636. Leading Israeli poets include Yehuda Amichai, Nathan Alterman, Leah Goldberg, and Rachel Blustein. 637. Internationally famous contemporary Israeli novelists include Amos Ounce, Edgar Kerry, and David Grossman. 638. 639. Music and dance. Several dozen musicians in formal dress, holding their instruments, behind a conductor. Israel Philharmonic Orchestra conducted by Zubin Mehta. Israeli music includes Mizrahi and Sephardic music, Hasidic melodies, Greek music, jazz, and pop rock. 640. 641. The Israel Philharmonic Orchestra. 642. 643. Has been in operation for over 70 years and performs more than 200 concerts each year. 644. Itzhak Perlman, Pinchaz Zukerman, and Ofra Hazar are among the internationally acclaimed musicians born in Israel. Israel has participated in the Eurovision Song Contest nearly every year since 1973, winning the competition 4 times and hosting it twice. 645. 646. Eilat has hosted its own international music festival, the Red Sea Jazz Festival, every summer since 1987. 647. The nation's canonical folk songs are known as Songs of the Land of Israel. 648. Cinema and Theatre. 10 Israeli films have been final nominees for Best Foreign Language Film at the Academy Awards. Palestinian-Israeli filmmakers have made films dealing with the Arab-Israeli conflict and status of Palestinians within Israel, such as Mohammed Bakri's 2002 film Jenin and the Syrian Bride. Continuing the strong theatrical traditions of the Yiddish theater in Eastern Europe, Israel maintains a vibrant theatre scene. Founded in 1918, Habama Theatre in Tel Aviv is Israel's oldest repertory theatre company and national theatre. 649. Other theatres include Oel, the Camry, and Gesher. 650. 651. Arts. Israeli Jewish art has been particularly influenced by the Kabbalah, the Talmud, and the Zohar. Another art movement that held a prominent role in the 20th century was the School of Paris. In the late 19th and early 20th century, the Yeshuv's art was dominated by art trends emanating Basel. Beginning in the 1920s, the local art scene was heavily influenced by modern French art, first introduced by Isaac Frenkel Fresnel. 652. 653. Jewish masters of the School of Paris, such as Saltine, Kaikoin, Frenkel, Shibor heavily influenced the subsequent development of Israeli art. 654. 655. Israeli sculpture took inspiration from modern European sculpture as well Mesopotamian, Assyrian and local art. 656. 657. Avraham Melnikov's Roaring Lion, David Polis Alexander Zedev Ben-Zvi's Cubist. Sculpture exemplifies some of the different streams in Israeli sculpture. 656. 658. 659. Common themes in Israeli art are the mystical cities of Safed and Jerusalem, the Bohemian cafe culture of Tel Aviv, agricultural landscapes, biblical stories and war. Today Israeli art has delved into optical art, AI art, digital art and use of salt in sculpture. 655. Architecture. Bauhaus Museum, Tel Aviv. Due to the immigration of Jewish architects, architecture in Israel has come to reflect different styles. In the early 20th century, Jewish architects sought to combine Occidental and Oriental architecture, producing buildings that showcase a myriad of infused styles. 660. The eclectic style gave way to modernist Bauhaus style with the influx of German Jewish architects, among them Erich Mendelssohn, fleeing Nazi persecution. 661. 662. The White City of Tel Aviv is a UNESCO heritage site. 663. Following independence, multiple government projects were commissioned, a grand part built in a brutalist style, with heavy emphasis on the use of concrete and acclimatization to the Israel's desert climate. 664. 665. Several novel ideas such as the Garden City were implemented Israeli cities. The Geddes plan of Tel Aviv became renowned internationally for its revolutionary design and adaptation to local climate. 666. The design of kibbutzim also came to reflect ideology, such as the planning of the circular kibbutz Nahalal by Richard Kaufman. 667. Media. The 2017 Freedom of the Press annual report by Freedom House ranked Israel as the Middle East and North Africa's most free country, and 64th globally. 668. In the 2017 Press Freedom Index by Reporters Without Borders, Israel, including Israel extraterritorial since 2013 ranking, 669, was placed 91st of 180 countries, first in the Middle East and North Africa region. 670. Reporters Without Borders noted that Palestinian journalists are systematically subjected to violence as a result of their coverage of events in the West Bank. 671. More than 50 Palestinian journalists have been killed by Israel since 2001. 672. Museums. The Israel Museum in Jerusalem is one of Israel's most important cultural institutions, 673, and houses the Dead Sea Scrolls, 674, along with an extensive collection of Judaica and European art. 673. Israel's National Holocaust Museum, Yad Vashem, is the world's central archive of Holocaust-related information. 675. Anu, Museum of the Shrine of the Book, repository of the Dead Sea Scrolls in Jerusalem. Jewish people on the campus of Tel Aviv University is an interactive museum devoted to the history of Jewish communities around the world. 676. Israel has the highest number of museums per capita. 677. Several Israeli museums are devoted to Islamic culture, including the Rockefeller Museum and the Elamaya Institute for Islamic Art, both in Jerusalem. The Rockefeller specializes in archaeological remains from Middle East history. It is also the home of the first hominid fossil skull found in Western Asia called Galilee Man. 678. Cuisine. A meal including falafel, hummus, French fries and Israeli salad. Israeli cuisine includes local dishes as well as Jewish cuisine brought to the country by immigrants. Particularly since the late 1970s, an Israeli fusion cuisine has developed. 679. Israeli cuisine has adopted, and continues Toda.